All right, everybody. This is not an FFBcast podcast, but it is a live stream.
Welcome to the FFB Cast podcast, home to fantasy greatness. Here's your host, Joseph Hoppy.
And I am your host, Joseph Hoppy. Today we are going over some best ball, both slow and fast drafts. We've currently got a 10-team draft going on right now, which is in the fourth round. So let's get into that now, and then we'll show you some of the slow drafts that we've got going on as well. So here's our current roster. We have Alvin Kamara, Nick Chubb, and Sony Michel. I prefer going running back heavy in a best ball. It's easier to replace number one wide receiver production and number two wide receiver production, even easier for that matter, than it is to replace running back one production and even running back two production. You might be lucky if you get some touchdown vulturing type of guys. And we are on the clock. And I think I like Marlon Mack here. We're gonna have to go Marlon Mack. We can just let it auto draft. I have my rankings preset in here. And thank God for that. Up until about maybe 130 players, I did just to be safe, in case I were to be auto drafted in any scenario. But let's go ahead and take a look at our squad here. And this is a flex league. You start two running backs, three wide receivers, a tight end, a quarterback, and then, of course, a flex. I love to have four stacked running backs that I feel absolutely confident with. That way through bye weeks, and we know how injury-prone the running back position is, you feel great about even... It's our pick again, and we need some wide receivers here. I've been teetering between Galladay and Woods, but I think I'm just going to have to go with Robert Woods due to the direction that the Lions have seemed to been going. They want to be run heavy. And I think the Rams are going to be less run heavy. So we'll go with Robert Woods there as our first receiver. And we shouldn't be picking for a little while here, so we've got some time. And like I was saying, it's easier to replace wide receiver 1 and 2 production than it is to replace running backs. And in best ball, that's extremely important to remember because you're not choosing who to start each week. You automatically get your highest points. So the boomer bust type of players that can put up, say like a Deshaun Jackson, can put up a wide receiver 1 number in any given week, but he might only do it 2 or 3 times the entire season. He's your best friend in best ball, especially if you're taking him as your wide receiver 5 or 6, because those 3 weeks that you're going to get from him as a wide receiver 1 are going to be so much more valuable than a running back that you take later on, because that running back is more likely than not going to get the opportunities outside of injuries, and they're not going to have as many touches and opportunities to put up points. And if you draft, say, a running back in the top 3 rounds, I guarantee you that top 3-round running back is more than likely going to outscore, whether he disappoints or you consider him a bust that year. He's going to outscore the running back that you would have taken in replace of a wide receiver like Deshaun Jackson. And we can have this discussion too when it gets to that point, when we get that further down in the draft. I actually have him ranked a lot higher in my own personal rankings here, but you'll see that in the ADP about right here. You'll see that when he comes up, which should be shortly. Yeah, so there he is. He's 101 in ADP. Where he is in my ranks, I can't really tell you right now. And we are going to be up shortly. So let's think about who we want here. Sammy Watkins would be the target. Since we are not sure about the Tyreek Hill news just yet. And we don't know. I mean, he's either going to miss the entire season or he's not. So Sammy Watkins is one of those players right now where his ADP is wrong. You know that it's wrong because it's either going to be a lot higher or a lot lower come the start of the season when things get clarified. And I've been taking risks on him because I'll take that medium risk at his ADP right now for an extremely high reward. I mean, he could finish as, a top 8 receiver if Tyreek Hill were to miss the entire season, just out of necessity. And we are up again. I need to get this. And Sammy Watkins is on the board, so that's exactly who we are going to take. Like I said, I really don't need to select him right now. He will be auto-drafted, and we got it in. There we go. Sammy Watkins, our number 2 receiver. Not very confident about that. I mean, if this were a redraft, I would already consider myself cooked, which we all know isn't true because the redrafts are won throughout the season. But, I mean, as far as confidence level goes, you're not very confident about Sammy Watkins being your wide receiver 2. Robert Woods being wide receiver 1, I guess I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that if you have depth at the running back position, which we do here. I really wouldn't even mind that in a redraft if you had, the great kind of depth that we have here in a flex position type of league. We're back on the clock again, and I don't know how I can pass on Tevin Coleman, but I don't know how I can draft another running back. I can't let someone else get him. I got to do it. I would have taken Deshaun Watson next, just because I think he's fallen enough so he has that boom-bust potential. He's probably the biggest boom-bust quarterback, but quarterbacks are so deep, and in a best ball, it's so easy to just combine 3 quarterbacks that go in the draft. Like, if I get Lamar Jackson, Cam Newton, and Josh Allen or Derek Carr or Matthew Stafford, one of those guys with Cam Newton and Lamar Jackson, I already feel like I've won at the running back position. So here's what we've got going on. We've got Alvin Kamara, Nick Chubb, Robert Woods, and Sammy Watkins. Sony Michel in the flex, and Marlon Mack or Tevin Coleman. Technically not on our bench. We don't know who's going to be on our bench week to week. So you absolutely feel good about starting 3 running backs every week. And that's what I love, because come bye weeks, it's going to be important that you have that high-end running back 1 production, especially on a week-to-week basis in a best ball. Now we'll draft. I'll usually find myself taking like 7 wide receivers, at least 7 wide receivers, knowing that I have to start at least 3. And they're all usually Will Fuller types, Deshaun Jackson types, or connected to a high-end offense, such as Geronimo Allison, Devin Funchess even. I'm liking him this year. I think he could, catch 7 to 9 touchdowns in that offense. He's part of the reason why I'm not very high on Eric Ebron, but I'd also like Jack Doyle, more so in a best ball format. Jack Doyle can catch 2 touchdowns in 1 week and then not catch one for 4 weeks, and that's exactly the type of best ball player that is great for late round picks. So I find myself drafting Jack Doyle a lot as well to fill the tight end position. I'm either getting Travis Kelce in the late second, early third, or I'm just waiting. It out, and I'm taking guys. I've even taken a lot of Matt Lacoste. That was until Austin Seferian-Jenkins signed with the Patriots. But I'm still not 100% sure that ASJ is going to be on the roster come the start of the season. He's a great talent. But we'll see how that plays out. We'll see. Matt Lacoste gets a 2-year deal. I think it was $2.8 million. So still, they're not paying these guys big money where you're like, okay, this is going to be a Gronk replacement. There is no Gronk replacement. Let's be clear about that. There's no such thing. Gronk was the greatest tight end to ever play, in my opinion. You can say Tony Gonzalez due to the longevity of his career and his receiving skills, but Gronk was just at the peak of Gronk. He was dominant, and he made it look like he was playing in a Pee Wee league. He throwing guys around, dragging them into the end zone. He was the greatest blocker and the best pass catching combination that I've ever seen on the field. And here we are. We have Will Fuller and Carlos Hyde. I love Carlos Hyde because he could take over that backfield, but we got to go with Will Fuller here due to the lack of wide receiver depth. This is a steal on Carlos Hyde, but the Carlos Hyde situation isn't like the Sammy Watkins and Tyreek Hill situation where Damian Williams is going, I believe, in like the 3rd round. Carlos Hyde available here in the 6th round. And it's not the same situation because Tyreek Hill, we know for sure he's either missing the entire season or he's not. Now, Carlos Hyde and Damian Williams, it's not one or the other. They could be easily mixed in, even though Andy Reid's history has not been to do that. We get it, i.e. Jamal Charles. He was a workhorse. Andy Reid likes his workhorse backs. Now, that doesn't mean he won't go with a hot hand, because I think he's shown to do that as well. And as I'm saying this, Carlos Hyde remains available still, and that's who we're going to end up taking, I think, for our 5th running back. So let's catch up here so we can show you guys the picks. And then 2, let's take a look at our overall roster. And boy, do we have some running backs. That's for sure. Kamara, Chubb, Michelle, Mack, Coleman, and Hyde. Wide receivers, Woods, Watkins, and Fuller so far. Now, that's terrible, right? Yeah. But if I can get 3 weeks as a wide receiver 1 out of Robert Woods and 3 weeks as a wide receiver 1 out of Will Fuller, and who knows what we get out of Watkins still. plus a combination of maybe a Deshaun Jackson here. As you can see, he's still available. And I like other guys further down the list here at wide receiver. For instance, Geronimo Allison. D.D. Westbrook I don't think is bad. I think that Jags wide receiver group as a whole is being overlooked now that Nick Foles has been brought in. And we saw what Nick Foles did with Alshon Jeffrey. I think he is going to make one of those guys his target, and I think that target is going to be D.D. Westbrook. So I like D.D. Westbrook also. I'm okay with getting Christian Kirk. I actually need to change my rankings. I have Larry Fitzgerald one ahead of Christian Kirk. I'm okay with getting him in a best ball as like a wide receiver 3 even, because of the potential boom bust. I mean, especially if that offense cannot go backwards. That offense has to be better. By laws of nature. So I definitely see him being better, him being undervalued currently, and him getting better production play out of his quarterback, whether it being Rosen or Murray. I think we all pretty much know at this point it's going to be Murray. But I've just heard recently some rumors floated around that they have absolutely no intentions of taking Murray, which would I kind of like it. I like it. I mean, you set up this big stage the entire off season leading up to the draft, and then you just stun everyone. That's good television. So I wouldn't mind that. But anyways, I digress. And it looks like we're gonna be choosing from some of those guys. Coming up, we are in 2 picks. Jerick McKinnon just went. Deshaun Jackson goes ahead of that. So very disappointing for me. I would have loved to have, I would say, either of those, but I don't think I could have let myself draft another running back. Probably would have ended up reaching. We do need to start considering quarterbacks. Alright. And we're up. LaShawn McCoy still available. Back of the 10th round. That's crazy. Cam Newton is the pick. We're going with Cam Newton. Got to take a quarterback, like I said. If you combine a Cam Newton, Matt Ryan, and a Carson Wentz or Jameis Winston, you can do that in 3 rounds, back to back to back, say 10, 11, 12. That's absolutely possible. And then you can feel great about your quarterback position in a best ball league. I do not take anything I'm saying here from best ball and try to apply it to redraft or quote me towards that, because I promise you it's not going to work, and it's going to be ugly for both of us. Don't take 3 quarterbacks in a redraft. Take 1 quarterback, and don't even take him early. Be the last guy in your draft to take a quarterback, because it's getting deeper and deeper and deeper, and you can tell because of the value, the market value. Say, look at Blake Bortles, a 1-year deal. I know he's getting paid more than that, but any team would have been smart to do that. Could you imagine the praise the New England Patriots would have received? And we are taking Matt Ryan. Could you believe the praise New England would have received had they signed Blake Bortles on a 1-year deal for $1 million? Oh my God. Hail Bill Belichick. And don't get me wrong, I think he is the greatest coach to ever coach the game. And that's coming from a Packers fan. But I'm just saying, let's let's not be biased when we're looking at the transactions of teams. Everybody is ready to poo-poo on the Jaguars and the Browns a few years ago, and the same goes for the Patriots, except the opposite. It doesn't matter what moves they make. The Josh Gordon move, had the Jaguars done that move, had any other team done that, had Philly done that, they would have been getting bashed in the media because of the way that it ended. And they would have said that they were worse off because of how it caught them off guard, and all of a sudden they were unprepared. But no, not in New England. Anyways, I hope you've been paying attention to this. I want to let you all know that this is a pleasure for me to do, and if you'd like, you guys can check out ffbcast.com. I know there's not much going on right now football-wise, but after the draft, that's basically when the season begins, because now you can start mock drafting for real. You know where these guys are landing. The injuries haven't quite played out yet, but if you're a fanatic like I am, you're going to take those risks. You're going to be drafting early, and I can show you as of now the best balls that we've got. We'll walk away from this team. I'll continue it on my phone. We'll just get a good overall look at it. Cam Newton, Matt Ryan for the quarterback position. Kamara, Chubb, Michelle, Mack, Tevin Coleman, and Carlos Hyde at the running back position and for flex. Absolutely stacked. And I can weather the storm of injuries this early, since we're drafting this early, as we were just talking about. Now, for the wide receiver position, we've got Robert Woods, Sammy Watkins, and Will Fuller. I still plan on drafting at least 4 more, if not 5 more. At least 7 wide receivers when you're lacking depth like that, and let them be boomer bust types. There's not many of those left. Maybe a John Brown, Geronimo Allison. I'll let you guys in on a little secret, and quote me on this one, and please do, because I'm going to need your guys' support and to say, hey, look, he told you so. Philip Dorsett will be the best New England Patriots wide receiver this season. I promise you this. Now, my rankings don't quite reflect that yet because of where you have to draft him, but if I were to do preseason ranks and I had to lock them in, I would probably have Philip Dorsett 1 spot ahead of Julian Edelman, as a partial cop-out, but as a partial testimonial to how much I truly believe in Philip Dorsett. And here we go. I was auto-drafted while talking and got Jared Goff. As you can see, he is now on the bench there. That's fine. That's absolutely fine, because we got another pick coming up, and we're going to scoop Geronimo Allison if he's still available. His ADP is 131, and this is 13-3. So if we get him, I'm going to feel... Oh, he goes right before us. I was going to feel great. Now I feel terrible. John Brown or Lamar Jackson. I think it's got to be John Brown, eh? Alright, John Brown it is. Instead of Goff, I wish I would have went Allison, and then where I took Brown, I would have gone Lamar Jackson, had I been paying attention. But it's always good to diversify your portfolio, and you're about to see just what we're talking about. These are the drafts that we have going on right now, currently, and we have a pick here in a $5 best ball. A lot of these are all slow drafts, mostly 12. There might be a 10 person, yeah, right there on top. And let's go check this one out and make this pick. Like I said, I've got my phone open, so I'm going to continue the 10-team fast draft. And I'll just kind of tell you guys what's going on in it. But let's check this one out here. Sammy Watkins goes just before us. Sometimes I swear it's not right to queue players or make your own ranks. But that's fine because we didn't need any more receivers. Check out what we've got here. We've got Zeke, Freeman, Evans, Edelman, Galladay, which you'll probably not see me with another receiving group like that in any of the other best balls, except for one, I believe. I switched it up in the back of maybe the 10th or in the back of the first. I'm saying in a 10 or 12 team. I can't remember. And I took Devontae Adams and Michael Thomas in back-to-back picks. I believe it was a 12 team. So this is perfect. Actually, Tevin Coleman here fits what we need. We have Zeke and Freeman with no other running back depth. And if I can come back and get Carlos Hyde, I'll be super happy, actually, with how this team is shaping up overall. So let's lock that pick in. And then take a look here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 picks until we pick again. In that case, I think I'll take Rodgers. Before I reach on Carlos Hyde. Knowing that he's probably not going to come back, there is a chance he does. But usually when I get Luck or Rodgers, say in like the 7th round, late 6th round of these best balls, I'll really only take one other quarterback, and it's important that you know bye weeks, because when you're going to do that, if you're not drafting depth at the position, like when I draft 7 wide receivers, I'm not paying attention to bye weeks. When I draft 5 running backs, I'm not paying attention to bye weeks. If I'm drafting only 4 running backs, I'm paying attention to bye weeks. If I'm drafting only 5 wide receivers, I'm paying attention to bye weeks. When I'm drafting 2 tight ends, I'm paying attention to bye weeks. You get the picture. But when you're drafting depth, I just kind of let it be and just pick best available, because when you are paying attention to bye weeks, sometimes you'll get away from your rankings. And I do not like to do that. And just so you all know, FFBcast is going to start as soon as the draft is done recording custom podcasts on your league's draft. So you do a redraft, you do a rookie draft, you do any kind of draft, snake draft, auction draft, all drafts. startup dynasty drafts even. We will record an episode tailored to your fantasy league, break down every single pick, talk about how the overall teams look, some of the best picks that we thought were occurring in the draft, some of the reaches as well. So it's a great piece of art, I would say, because of the way that the subjects are crafted and the way that everything is unique to you and your league mates. We're excited about this, and we're looking forward to doing this all preseason, and having a lot of business as well. So get in there as soon as you can, and let us know too. I mean, there's a section for notes. If you want something specific, if you want us to even, say, hey, so and so sucks, trust me, we'll do it. No shame in our game, we'll do it. So you can taunt your opponents. You can even come on the podcast for I believe there's a slight fee. It might be as low as $3.99. You can join the podcast. We will interview you, and you can talk your own smack then, which is pretty cool as well. And then don't forget, we also have guest appearances by some of your favorite analysts. Most of them that we've spoken to have agreed. They said, hey, here's the price that I want to go on to someone's podcast and talk about their fantasy football league. Great. But some of them we have not been able to reach. So check out our list. You can get that on the website. Go to www.ffbcast.com. You can see the list of people. If there's not someone on there that's not listed that you want to see, email us. We'll reach out to them in a Twitter conversation or something. We'll contact them, and we will show you the reply. Either saying, hey, yeah, they're on board, or this person has declined to do it. And it's not just for you either. Like if say you initiate the conversation to bring on the newest best analyst, well, other teams are going to definitely appreciate, our other leagues and customers are going to appreciate that, because now that person is available to them also. So, and like we said, we'll screenshot the combo, we'll send it to you, and that's something that you can have. I know I've seen a lot of people post it on Facebook before. A lot of people have, added them on Twitter, shout out, and include the screenshot and say, hey, man, thanks a lot. We appreciate you doing this. We're looking forward, to you discussing our league. So it's really cool fan interaction, and I just think it's just a great thing. It's an amazing idea as well. So we're looking forward to having your support in doing this. And we're going to have a lot of other things as well. I mean, we're talking live streams. We're going to be doing mock drafts all preseason. We're going to be doing the best balls. We're going to be doing fast, slow best balls. You're going to be kept in the loop. You should follow us on Twitter too, because we're not documenting every pick here, but when the gist of it's done and we wrap up a few drafts, we'll post them on there and say, hey, give us a grade. What do you think? And it gets a lot of people talking about fantasy, and that's what we need right now, especially this early in the season. Fantasy doesn't stop. It's all year round. I promise you that. This isn't, 2002 anymore. And latest update, I just took Kenny Stills, and I'm not sure how I feel about it. In the 16th round, though, with 2 picks left, I'm going to go for tight end. And our wide receivers ended up being in the 10-team fast draft. Robert Woods, Sammy Watkins, Will Fuller, John Brown, Jamison Crowder, Philip Dorsett, and Kenny Stills. If I can get 3 wide receiver 2 weeks, or if I can get 3 wide receiver 2 performances each week out of that entire group, I'll be satisfied. Because at quarterback, we have Cam Newton, Matt Ryan, and Jared Goff. Running back obviously was stacked. We have another pick in a 12-person draft here. Our running back in the 10-person draft, fast draft that we were doing earlier, is Kamara, Chubb. Hold on, I gotta make a pick here. It was Kamara, Chubb, Michelle, Mack, Coleman, and Hyde. Coleman and Hyde have such great potential, and they're going so late. Those other guys, I mean, obviously, they're going so early because of, their reputation precedes them. And in this draft here, let's take a look at our squad. And let's talk about this one. This is a new one. I haven't seen this one in a while. I mean, it's not a new one, but I think everyone was picking very slow. And I just so happened to forget about it. We went Melvin Gordon, Nick Chubb, Devontae Freeman, Mark Ingram, Jarvis Landry instead of Robert Woods, just like the previous draft that we were in, where Nick Chubb also went in the second round. And Carlos Hyde in the 9th. Very similar, but we had Robert Woods, Sammy Watkins, Will Fuller. I finished it off with John Brown, Jamison Crowder, Philip Dorsett, Kenny Stills, which I'm not too happy about, and 3 quarterbacks, 2 tight ends. Now I should check bye weeks real quick. When it comes down to drafting only 2 tight ends, I did take Jack Doyle in the previous one. Here we go. See, now this is a better position here. I get to take Deshaun Jackson, and I feel really good about that. With him as my 4th wide receiver. So here he goes. So we took Deshaun Jackson. Alright. Wow, a lot of running back depth again. 5 running backs. I mean, you can feel good about bye weeks. That's for sure. And you know you're going to be starting one in the flex. And I would feel better about that than having a stacked wide receiver position and having no running backs, even though you only have to start 2 running backs. Because say you get a running back in the 2nd round, like Nick Chubb. Now you have Nick Chubb as your number 1 running back. Do you feel good about that? Because who's your 2nd running back? Are you getting, I mean, if you're drafting later, what are you getting? Carlos Hyde. My best case scenario would be to combine Tevin Coleman and Carlos Hyde. I mean, if you're not, still, is that taking a running back too early? If you're going for stacked wide receiver positions, I've enjoyed taking tight end early if I can get Kelsey. We've gotten him in the back of the 2nd, early 3rd, and was ecstatic about how my team turned out because I took one other tight end after that, and just felt amazing about it. But I like the way this team is shaping up. I love the depth, obviously, at running back and the boom-bust potential of all of those wide receivers, especially Landry playing behind OBJ now. Should get amazing coverage. I think he's going to return to the Dolphins form of Landry when he was at his best, and catching over 110 passes. Alright, so we won't be picking a while. In this one, I believe we have another draft that just came available. And it was only a $1 entry, so these are the ones I'll tend to mix it up with, see if there's any particular strategy that I like. Ooh, and we have 2 picks in the next 4.